Hello guys, Nate Bailey here with Barebow Hunters and the Life Outdoors. I'm going to continue in our series on how to shoot with a barebow or how to hunt with a barebow. Remember, this is all about hunting. It's less about target archery. I'm going to go over arrow weight and the differences between arrow weight and what that has to do with a hunter. And I'm not talking spine here. Now, spine is how much the arrow bends when it comes out of the bow. These arrows right here are spined exactly the same. Okay, these are, well, I say that they're spined the same, but they're only spined the same because I've added weight up front. So this arrow is shooting a 150 with a 100 insert up front, brass insert, and that gives me more what they call FOC, so weight forward of center. Okay, this one has a aluminum insert with the 125, so this one has more weight up front. Why do you want more weight up front? There's two things. One is, just like any lever or like a wrench, when you get a wrench and you're trying to break loose a bolt, in order to break loose that bolt, if you get a longer wrench, it's easier to break it loose. Well, it's easier to get this arrow under control if your weight is up here, because you have more leverage. The feathers have more leverage. The fletching has more leverage as it comes out of the bow to straighten it out. So that's one reason to shoot heavy FOC. Another reason is all of your momentum is carried in this first section. So when you hit something, most of your momentum is being carried into that section. So those are two big reasons. Another reason that I like to shoot heavier arrows is you're going to get penetration. You're going to get a whole lot more penetration. I'm actually going to switch over and start doing some experimenting, and I'll put it on this Facebook, or on this YouTube channel. I'm going to experiment with some real heavy arrows, and these right now are about 510 grains the way they're set up. This guy here is about 410 grains. So there's about 100 more grains. No, this is not 510. I'm sorry. This is 530. So there's quite a bit more grain weight in this guy. And I shoot 150 broadheads. And I have these arrows set up the same as I have my hunting arrows set up the same as I have these. This is kind of a target arrow I was playing with, trying to get some flatter trajectory. So when we're talking weight of arrows, the heavier your arrow, the more momentum it's going to carry into the animal. So if you hit a bone or something like that, and if you're using the right heads, it's going to drive more. If there is a formula, momentum equals mass times velocity. So when you do this, so say I'm shooting this arrow just a little faster because it weighs less. Well, the mass isn't there, so the little bit of speed that I pick up probably isn't going to give me more momentum. So you want to find that sweet spot. For hunting, I like to shoot the heaviest arrow I could shoot and still be effective at 30 yards. That's my goal. So some arrows, if they're too heavy, they're falling off way too much for me to shoot at 30 yards. So let me show you a couple shots. I'm going to do a couple shots here. We're at 20 yards, and I'm going to show you a couple shots and the difference between a heavy arrow and a light arrow. Now the first arrow that I'm going to shoot is the heavier arrow, and I'll shoot it, and I will hold. Hey honey, come here. Come on, get out of there. We don't want any dogs on a stick. We don't need any chihuahuas on a stick today. All right, so I'll hold with this arrow, and I'm going to hold exactly the same spots every time. I'm going to pick out my hole on the target, and I'll shoot right there. So I don't know if you can see where that hit. It's just a little bit, it's about 2 inches left of where I was holding, but it's perfect in elevation. Now, the difference is I'm going to hold this exactly the same way, because every shot that I do, my form, once my form is good, my subconscious takes this over. Now, there's a lot of guys that have been arguing with me about this, but it's all metaphysical from here. Once your form is good, then you're concentrating on the spot that you want to shoot. Your brain is going to focus in on that spot, and I just do a deep focus on where I want to hit. Now I'm going to do the same thing, same arrow, same focus, everything will be the same except for the arrow weight. Now see what the difference is. Alright, let's go take a look. Alright, so you see, this was the heavier arrow, and I'm a little bit off. I've been shooting a lot of shots today, guys, so I'm a little bit sore. And you can tell I am, because I'm shooting a little low. That means I'm short drawn just a tad. If I don't really concentrate on keeping my blades, my collapse in my shoulder, I will collapse it. Especially with this bow, because the way I have it set up. But so I'm a little bit low, but I was holding exactly the same spot. And if you look with this arrow, so this arrow was pretty much where I was holding. I was holding right in here. So that arrow is pretty much where I was holding, but this arrow is quite a bit higher. And before I pulled it, I should have showed you, but this arrow is sunk in quite a bit further out of the same bow, and this arrow probably was another 1.5 inches in the target, which is, when you're talking a broadhead and animals, that's a lot of momentum. So what the whole point of this video is to check out your momentum, figure out your velocities. So you go and check out how fast your arrows are going, and then multiply that by the weight, and then that way you could kind of figure out maybe if this arrow is a little bit faster, but I'm giving up much weight, then my momentum's going to be more, or maybe this one being a little bit slower but heavier will make my momentum more. So go check that out, play around with those arrows. I will show you how to do spine. I'm going to go through it. The reason I haven't done it now is because I'm going to go through and work up a whole new arrow for the bow, a whole new heavy system. I'm going to work up some grizzly sticks and try those out, and they are just the arrow alone is 400 grains. So, and then I'm going to put a 200 grain broadhead on that and field tip on that. So I'm looking at about 600 grain arrow, and that'll keep me within my 30-yard range. That's why I haven't showed you what spine is and how to change spine. I will go through as I set up that arrow section. I'm going to do the whole gamut. I'll show you the whole thing. So, all right, I hope that helped, guys. If it helps, go to Barebow Hunters, subscribe here. All that stuff helps us, you guys. If you need help with your spines, follow your manufacturer's recommendations, and then keep it at full length and just keep cutting it back until it flies right out of your bow. I will go over that completely in our next videos. If you haven't caught the rest of the videos, I think this is number 10. There are other videos come up, and go through the whole series, and I'm showing you how to pick all this stuff. All right, take it easy. Thanks, guys.